Hello, welcome to Wish We Were. I say hello like that every time. Let me do it differently. Hi, welcome to Wish We Were Then. This is a podcast. What is a podcast? Well, that's a show that's on your iPod. No, this show is this is me. I'm Trey, and my friend Mark here.
Howdy, everybody.
What do we do? Well, we go back and we constantly are always wondering what is life like for the people who are in the past, those people who are still back there
In yesteryear.
and we just wish so hard that we were then, and we wished and wished and wished, and finally one day it became so. And so we just go back and look at different years in the past and examine pop culture, mainly different technologies, different advances in medicine. A couple times I can remember once or twice I've brought up medicine. I don't think I have any medicine stuff today, but we'll see what happens.
Nobody was doing shit.
But yeah, we look at a different year every week, and this time, what's going on? What's the year? Well, we have an interesting one, in my opinion. I think that so often when you look back at years in the past, you can really feel the influence of the decade that year resides in all over it. You know, when you look at a picture of 1975, it has the flavor of the 70s all over it. A picture from the 80s has the stank of the 1980s upon it very heavily, and they look very different from one another. And a picture from 1995 is going to look way different than those two. They all have a very distinctive thing going on. And I think that this is a year kind of where it feels like the pop charts are all over the place, the music. You know, the movies, there's not really a big unifying theme in a lot of ways. It feels like the country's kind of figuring out what it wants, which I think happens from time to time. There's years where it sort of feels like it's a transitional year a little bit, but this also is a somewhat more recent year. But I feel like this is a couple decades ago now.
Yeah.
I feel old.
Yeah.
But I feel like you look at a picture from this year and you compare it to nowadays, there's less differences you'll find than if you look at something from, say, 75 to 85 or 75 to 95.
Yeah, it'd be 75 to 95.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is that just a recency bias because we lived through this year? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's what the show's all about.
Yeah.
So I don't want to preamble too much here. What is the year? We already kind of tipped our hat a little bit, tipped our cards, I guess, tipped our hat to each other when we walked to the room. We said, good day. But this was 20 years ago to this day. This is the anniversary of this year. Did you know that?
Yeah.
20 years ago today. It was
20 years.
It was
Wow.
2005. That's the year we shall be examining. You know, I think one of the things I'm kind of talking about when I say it didn't really have a big identity, I guess, and like I said, maybe I'm not being fair. Maybe by the end of this, we'll have a different assessment. But I kind of expected when I think of the early 2000s, like the movies were all very blue and like dark, and there was a lot of like the kind of that metal, what do you call it, like industrial rock kind of stuff going on. Like I think of like Resident Evil and like Underworld, you know? And that wasn't really that wasn't what was going on anymore. I think it kind of feels like this was a very marketable year in a lot of ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Even just like looking at some of the movies, which we will later, The Dark Knight or Batman Begins, I mean.
A lot of franchises that are kind of taking off at this point. And you see same thing in a lot of, just coming to mind too. I mean, we'll get into these again. But like video games, there's a lot of franchises that have stuck around. I think that's also part of the thing about when you look back at this year, why it feels so familiar to now is because so many things that were started back then have kind of kept on or have, you know, maintained popularity. I mean, there are shows that were started this year that are still on the air today and still pretty popular, you know?
Yeah.
And we'll get into all of that in due time. But first, let's look at some sort of like news items.
I got one for near the beginning of the year, on January 26th, Condoleezza Rice was sworn in as the first African-American woman Secretary of State in the United States.
Impressive. Way to go, Condi.
Out there doing stuff.
That's so funny. I just kind of, you know, Mark and I were both born the same year, 1992. So we were both 12 or 13, depending on the month of this year. I wasn't super concerned with politics, but I do remember just Condoleezza Rice being, you know, parodied on SNL and stuff like that a lot. So it's just funny to think like, oh yeah, Condoleezza Rice, like saw her on the news all the time. But
I remember her name, and then I saw a picture of her, and I was like, I don't know. I don't think I know who this is. I just remember her name.
There's a slew of politicians that I just remember hearing all the time, their names and seeing their faces and stuff, but I don't really have an opinion about them one way or another because I didn't pay attention, you know?
Yeah, especially at this time. Who cares at 12 years old?
Yeah, exactly. That's such a funny thing about looking at all the stuff pop culture wise. That's like so many things that were very formative to me, and so a lot of stuff that's like held on as like, oh, there's a lot of my favorites of like different things, movies and things like that. And I'm like, oh, you know, I know that there's nostalgia for it, but also I feel like a lot of stuff that I go back and revisit, I don't still have the same love for.
I was gonna say, I think this is the one year that I really do wish I was then.
Yeah, for real, man. This is like
It was like, dang, oh, what? No way.
Yeah, I'll have to highlight everything as it comes up.
Yeah.
For different things. You got any other like news stuff?
The Civil Marriage Act was introduced in the House of Commons in Canada, effectively legalizing gay marriage. So they were like one of the first ones to do it. Spain would do it a couple months later too.
Man, that's crazy.
So that's like the start of that wave of that era. Of
always trips me out how recent that all is.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, like you said, we were young, so it's like we don't really. In America, it was a little bit later, 2011 or something like that. But for us, I mean, we pretty much was like half of our lives. It wasn't, and we didn't pay attention to stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, it just is like, you know, you just feel like it's one of those things that's sort of been solved, you know? We're all like, oh, yeah, of course, everybody's got equal rights here, this, you know, and it's like, that shit was very, very, you know, I always trip out on how recent the civil rights movement was and stuff like that of the 60s. And like, man, this is like, you go back and look at the 50s and how crazy and awful things were. And like, that was a pretty recent time. And to think, like, man, gay marriage wasn't even legal 20 years ago.
I mean, my grandparents were in their mid 30s in the 50s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 20s or like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah. That's wild. What other news things we got here? I got a news story, but it kind of leads into my fast food tirade I'm going to go on.
I got one that's kind of more like pop culture oriented.
Okay, let's
YouTube launched.
Oh, yes. I have that. They founded on Valentine's Day, February 14th.
Yep.
They launched on December 15th, right at the end of the year. I was wondering why YouTube wasn't like more prominently discussed this year, because really they launched right at the end of the year.
Well, they put up a video on April 23rd. The first video was on April 23rd. So I don't know when, like, I don't know, everything was solidified, but it was called Me at the Zoo. And it's like one of the founders, like, in front of an elephant cage just talking about what the elephant looks like and stuff. It's basically really generic.
Yeah, I watched that. You remember the evolution of dance? I remember that being like the most viewed video.
Oh, yeah. Early YouTube got me into looking at early YouTube stuff, and that brought back a lot of memories, too.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff from back in the day that I loved on YouTube, but that's the one I remember from like the very, very early days. I mean, that was like, I guess, it's hard to even remember when I think of really early internet videos if they were pre-YouTube or not.
That's
true.
true.
Like when I think of like the grape stomping lady. Was that YouTube or was that pre-YouTube?
I don't know.
But like that's sort of, or the guy who's like really mad about the RVs. You remember that guy? He's like cussing a whole lot, but like, oh motherfucker, like screaming and like slamming stuff about the RVs. He's like a salesman. He's filming a video. It's very long, and it's like, man, the poor cameraman sitting there having to deal with this guy for an hour or longer. But yeah, I mean that's one of those things that definitely does give this year a different feel when you see how different YouTube was, because it's like, oh yeah, people were still using YouTube 20 years ago, but it did have a lot different look and feel to it.
Oh yeah, it was way different. All the shorts and stuff that people made, like the shitty animations and stuff, like
I still remember, like,
that's where Office Space came around. Was like on it. It was not YouTube, but it was an internet short.
The Mike Judge movie?
Yeah.
Huh, that's crazy. Finding a video was so different back then because there weren't that many. So it was really, everything got passed around. Like I said, the most viewed video, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch The Evolution of Dance. It's like not that good or interesting, but it's just something it's very interesting now. It's such a time capsule that this was something that everyone would like sat down and watched, like, man, the internet, and it's this guy who's just like, the evolution of dance. and then he does like it's like he's dancing through the decades, and it's like the 60s.
I do remember
and then
that
it's like him
video
dancing as the
now.
70s,
I
and him
do.
doing the 80s and stuff. And I remember being shown this video like, you gotta see this. This guy dances like it's the 90s.
Like it was 10 years ago. It was
It's
crazy.
so funny. You want to hear my fast food news story?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, this is the one that I'm sure you remember, and this has really sparked a generational wave of stories. Ana Ayala is the name of a woman that on March 22nd of 2005 claimed she bit into a severed finger in her chili at Wendy's. And so she tried to sue them and everything. This is, like I said, this is kind of like the wave of all these frivolous lawsuits you hear about and all these crazy things. The thing about this story that's wild is that, the more I read about it, the more interesting the story became to me. That it's not just like she claimed this happened and she made it up. There really was a finger in the chili, but she planted it. And it was a real live finger that she had. It turned out to be her husband's coworker's finger.
What?
That it got like severed at work or something like that. He sold it to the husband in December. So 3 months prior, he sold it to her husband to settle a debt of some sort. He owed the husband money, and he's like, I'll give you my finger. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't know if they had the plan, and it took them 3 months to get the balls to do it. If he's like, my wife's been needing a finger. She never said what it was for. But I know she needs one. Let me go ahead and get this and put this on ice for her. But so in December, they got the finger. And she kept it on ice until March when she cooked it at home in Vegas before taking it to San Jose.
What in the fuck?
So she cooked it partially to I was like, that was kind of smart, actually. That was like the one piece of this that's like, that's a good idea to make it seem like it got cooked in the chili.
Yeah.
She was also was charged with like fraud. Like it ended up costing the company, I didn't write down the actual figure, like $20 million or something like that, and like lost revenue, from people thinking this was a true thing. The other interesting things about these people was that she had been arrested and charged with grand theft for $11,000 for selling a mobile home that she didn't own, like prior to this happening. So she was already a little thief, a little unscrupulous person. Her husband had been charged with child support evasion payments and child endangerment as well prior to this happening. She got 9 years. He got 12. I thought it was weird that he got more than her. Maybe for buying the finger.
Is that illegal?
Probably.
Yeah, I guess, to buy and sell human body parts. Yeah, probably. That's so crazy. Got 12 years?
Yeah, 12 years, and she got 9 years.
Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably
time.
for buying it. He had to.
And then, I guess for doing the suit, and then, yeah, I don't know. Crazy.
That's crazy. Did Wendy's sue them back for lost damages?
Not that I know of. I just have this written down. But also of note, in 2013, she was arrested again for a fraud claim about her son shooting himself in the ankle.
Oh, so she was just trying to get payments.
This
somehow.
was also an
Go
interesting
slip and
thing
Stater Brothers
that,
like everybody else does.
He shot himself. I wish I had written down more about this because I remembered it before right after I looked it up. But it's a very interesting story about her son shooting himself, and then it turns out, he wasn't supposed to have the gun, and I don't know, there's a whole bunch of weird nonsense, but she got arrested again. So this woman just she's a mess.
Asking for it. Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, interesting story. I do remember hearing about that, though, back then. Didn't hear the follow-up in 2013, though. On the fast food front, here's a couple extra fun things. Fast food and the like. BK chicken fries came out in 2005. I remember those being a really big deal. They still have them.
They still have them, yeah. They're still I think they come back out with them.
Yeah,
is what
periodically.
they do, yeah.
They always have on the Burger King near my house, they have a sign for the fiery chicken fries, whatever the hot version of them is.
Yeah.
And it just has permanently on it a thing that's just not available. Like a little sticker over it.
Just
put
take
something
the
different
sound,
there.
take
Yeah.
the sign down.
Just put it like an advertisement for something else that came out in 2005, Coke Zero.
Oh.
Also,
I knew that was a newer thing.
20 years old now. That's a long
Dang,
time.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Coke with lime also came out, and Vault energy drink. You remember that?
Yeah, that didn't last very long.
It drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. That was their tagline, and it lasted till 2011. I was never into energy drinks, but I did try that. I think it was like Sprite tasting. I don't
I
really
don't
remember.
think I've tried that one. I did drink energy drinks too.
You were like, no, I just like the regular one.
I
For
just
me,
didn't
I was
buy
like,
that one.
I was like, I'm afraid of regular energy drinks, but I want to be cool like everyone else. I'll drink this soda. Tony's Chocolonely. Have you had that before? Delicious chocolate. It's fair trade. It's like, more expensive than normal chocolate, but normal chocolate now is like $3.50 when you go to a gas station. So might as well spend $5 on a bottle on a bar of Tony's Chocolonely. It's actually pretty good chocolate.
Huh? No, I've never had it.
And then the last little fun food fact. Oh, before I have to get into drinks, I guess. Hershey's Kissables. You remember these? I remember them when I saw a picture of them. They were like
Kissables.
They were like M&Ms, kind of. They were tiny little versions of Hershey's Kisses that were covered in like a candy shell.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
They lasted until 2009.
Dang, no, I don't think I ever had those.
Those
Missed opportunity. I got one from McDonald's was trying to do DVD sales in their restaurants.
DVD sales?
Yeah, it was like a handful of...
It seems vaguely familiar to me, but...
They were like talking about it competing with Netflix. It says McDonald's is expanding tests for national DVD rental services in restaurants, proposing to turn the fast food chain into a do-it-yourself Netflix for road warriors. Soon, travelers will be able to rent their way across the country.
That's a weird way of advertising.
Right?
Like, why would you focus on people traveling? Like, everyone would just go, hey, get your fucking movie when you come to your hamburger,
Because you leave your town, I guess. You go get
It's
food.
such a weird... Like, yeah, people only... That feels like it would make sense if it was, like, the 90s or something like that. But for it to be 2005, it'd be like travelers, I don't know. I guess it was that early on. People weren't still... Because also, if you didn't know Netflix back in the day, at this point, probably... I mean, this was pre-streaming... They were still a mail order company.
Yeah, that's what they was comparing it to.
Yeah, so Netflix used to like online. You would have a list of movies, and they would send you like the 5 or whatever that were next on your list, or however many you subscribe to, and then you watch those, and you'd send them back, and they'd send you new ones. So I guess that was the home version, and this was supposed to be, well, if you're on the road, you come to McDonald's, and we'll get your movies all sorted out, and then you take it to the next McDonald's in the next town you go to. Interesting, really weird.
Yeah,
like it kind of surprises me that it didn't take off, because it would make sense for that to just, I mean, there's, McDonald's in a Walmart. Why wouldn't there be like a small...
Yeah, like a little DVD kiosk. Like,
Yeah.
What are the red boxes that aren't around anymore?
Yeah, I mean...
like that kind of.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, that makes sense, but it just seems like it was marketed very strangely, so I can see that being part of the reason, possibly.
Yeah.
Here's some drink news. Four Locos came out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, huge
Gross.
cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
They're technically still around, but not the way they were back in 2005.
No, they're actual, like, energy drinks. Now
Yeah,
you're not
they were.
allowed to do that.
They were dangerous. And Heineken Light came out that year as well. Another alcohol is Trump vodka.
Like Trump's vodka?
Donald
or what?
Trump, yeah. It ceased U.S. sales in 2011, but is still sold in Israel.
It's odd.
Yeah, that's the only place. I mean, that was a long time ago that it was stopped being sold here.
Yeah, I mean, every celebrity has done alcohol, though.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point.
yeah, for sure. But this is just one that...
That's
was
crazy.
When his came out, stopped in 2011, still sold in Israel.
Huh.
Yeah. That's
So
funny.
somebody makes it somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's got just like one distillery full of... Just one guy running back and forth. Like, oh, I got so much work to do. I wonder how much vodka's even drank in Israel. I wonder how well it does. I mean, well enough that he decided to keep that one guy working.
Yeah.
That's it for my fast food stuff. Last kind of stuff I want to get into is sort of tech related. You got anything different or related to that, or?
I got the Huffington Post started as an online commentary outlet.
HuffPo.
Yep, HuffPo. I thought this was older. I thought this was something that turned into
The online thing.
the online thing. Like, I thought it was already a magazine or something, you know?
Yeah, I had always thought that too. And then when I found out how like Ariana Huffington was like a like a current
Yeah.
concern in the world. Like
Yeah.
like not an old woman from history times. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, she's still alive.
Yeah, this is somebody who's not very old. I didn't know it was from 2005. I would have thought even maybe like the 90s.
Yeah, at least. Like I said, I thought it was a newspaper article.
Yeah. I did. Me too. That's cool. Good job, Ariana.
Killing it out there, slaying it or whatever.
Well, and related to cyber tech news, cutting edge technologies. Here's some more of that kind of stuff we were talking about, the things that are continuing on to this day in different forms. iPod Mini 2 was released and discontinued.
That same year?
Yeah. But that year also, the Shuffle and the Nano video.
Oh, yeah, the Shuffle.
The Shuffle took the place of the iPod Mini 2. But the Shuffle came out, and then the Nano and the iPod video all came out. So this was a big year for iPod. This was pre-iPhones. So again, if you're not aware of the existence of iPods in their prime form, they were just music players. This was the first time that the iPod video came out. So this is the first time you were able to watch shit on your phone.
Yeah.
I mean on your iPod.
All the little apps they had with like the lighter,
Oh yeah.
the touch. Oh, I guess that was iPod
was-
Touch.
that was later,
huh?
yeah.
Yeah, that was later.
This was Motorola and Apple announced the Rocker iPod cell phone. ROKR. Rocker. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it, Rocker. So this was, again, pre-iPhone, but this was the first time they thought about doing an iPod cell phone. And it was announced. I don't know if it came out, but we're not talking about later on. We're talking about 2005. So it was at least announced this year. Subscription music services were starting up, like Rhapsody. And Apple added podcast support this year to their devices. Podcasts have been going on a little bit before this, but this was the year they added them to iPods. So that's another thing. Current industry started back then.
Yeah.
Lots of tech.
Clearly still going.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I got some video game stuff before we get into TV.
Okay.
So just a couple quick things about video games. The Xbox 360 was released on November 22nd.
Yep.
That was a full year before the PS3 and the Wii, which was surprising to me. I forgot that it was like a whole year. But I remember now, like, thinking back at that time, because I was really waiting for the PlayStation 3 to come out, because I liked the PlayStation more than Xbox.
Yeah, I remember when it came out because one of my neighbors got it, and it was like, the new cool thing.
Oh, yeah, it was
That's what
mind-blowing at the
Yeah,
time.
that's what we all did for that whole year until then I got the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, the whole time I was so jealous. Like, man, the Xbox kids get to have theirs already.
Yeah.
I just kept, like, I remember being like, it's just because the PlayStation's going to be even cooler now.
Yeah.
I did think the PlayStation 3 was a cooler system, and I mean, it's more similar to how things are now, but Xbox had more games and stuff, I think.
Yeah, at the time you could play like movies and stuff on the PS3 and the. Oh,
Could
you
not
could
on
do
the
that.
360?
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
could.
I never had
You could on the
Xbox.
PlayStation 2 as well.
Oh, yeah. PSP also hit shelves in the U.S.
That's dope.
It had come out prior, but that was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I think when everyone got the 360, I got a PSP and was very satisfied with that for a long
Yeah.
time and thought, this is the new thing, and then it kind of died out.
They're
fairly quickly.
remaking it, I suppose.
I would love to get my hands on one of those. I really, really loved my PSP. Still love watching movies on it and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Some games that were of note, Yakuza, the first one, Psychonauts, God of War, the first one,
Oh,
first
shit.
Forza Motorsport, the first Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
A couple that I liked a lot were Shadow of the Colossus and Tony Hawk's American Wasteland.
Oh, that's a great game.
Loved American Wasteland. Shadow of the Colossus was great too. Spent a lot of time playing
Shadow
that.
of the Colossus. Yeah, I played that game too. Man.
And here's something to note, and just keep this in your mind for later. 50 Cent's Bulletproof came out in 2005, the video game.
Okay.
Notoriously bad video game, but it did come out. Now, let's move on to TV if you're ready.
Let's do it.
All right. Now, we talked about before, and I need to figure out a different system of doing this, but how the way that the television seasons for ratings are broken up is like they end in September. So when you look up the ratings for 2005, you're only getting September through December, and then the rest of that is all from 2006. So you have to look up the 2004 and the 2005 ratings to get a full
You
picture.
get like an accurate account.
Yeah, but still half and half, so whatever. It's kind of a mishigosh. But we got lucky because in first, second, and third kind of mixed up depending on which way you look at it. But they split these spots either way. Were American Idol on Tuesday and Wednesdays, and CSI. Those all took the top 3 spots, depending on which of those years you look at the charts. And then number 4, both ways, was Desperate Housewives.
Okay.
So we know the top 3 shows were American Idol, CSI, and Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, everyone used to watch American Idol in my house. There was like
Really?
gather around the TV and watch
That was
it.
never a big thing for my family. I watched it a little bit later on, but never when it was like a big deal. CSI was my mom loved CSI, so I watched that a lot when I was a kid. Here's just I'm going to run through this list. Take note of anything you want to talk about because it's a long thing. But here's a lot of shows that started. The Office, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Deal or No Deal, American Dad, Robot Chicken, The Boondocks, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Ben 10, Go Diego Go, Colbert Report, Hell's Kitchen, Supernatural, Bones, Grey's Anatomy, Next, Run's House, Andy Milonakis Show, and Wonder Chosen. Those are a bunch of things that came out that year.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The amazing show.
Yeah, obviously. That's one that's still going on.
The Office. I didn't watch that until like 2015.
I've never been able to get into it. I've watched a handful of episodes, and it just never has struck a chord for me.
I think the only reason I liked it is because I actually got kind of invested in like the characters.
I only ever hear good things about it. You know, it's one of those shows that I know is very beloved. I just, never was for me. Avatar: The Last Airbender was, I loved that as it was new coming out.
I'm still watching Korra.
I didn't get to, I started that and then just fell off, but it's one that I always think, I gotta go back and watch that.
But I can go back and watch Avatar: The Last Airbender and just like be just as entranced as I was.
Yeah, I've rewatched that show a couple of times. And like the new Netflix show, that's another one like I started and it's like, it's good enough and I could watch this, but I'd probably rewatch the old cartoon before I kept watching that.
Yeah, I didn't finish. I think I watched the first 3 episodes of that new one.
I thought the MTV shows were important back then. Next, Run's House, Andy Milonakis Show, Wonder Shows, and like there was just a lot of the MTV era of those types of reality shows, and like their comedy and stuff was really cool still at this point, but also starting to get a little trashy. But like I said, Next, that was a fun one. I don't know if you watched that, where everyone's on the bus.
I never watched those.
I loved those when I was a kid, and then like the Room Raiders and Parental Control.
Oh, Room Raiders! I remember that one.
Yeah, and then Parental Control was the one like the parents would pick like the dates for the kids or something like that. Like, I hate my daughter's boyfriend, so here are these 3 guys we picked out for or whatever.
Yeah, I do remember that shit.
Yeah, like those were all really fun to me when I was a kid. Well, that's all I got for TV. You ready to jump into music?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, here's one of our big, more structured elements of the show here, folks. This is where we look at, specifically, we're going to look into the Billboard Hot 100s and see what the top 5 songs are from the year. Get a good idea of what was all over the fucking place. These are the songs that you would have been hearing constantly. And I think when we look at older years than this, we have to go, oh, okay, yeah, some of these I'm not super familiar with. A lot of these I recognize, whatever. This is a year where we can say, oh, yeah, these were fucking everywhere because we remember this, and they were everywhere. Sure.
They were.
Very popular stuff. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, number 5 is Sierra, 1-2 Step with Miss Elliott.
Miss Elliott.
Missy Elliott.
Excuse me, Miss Elliott.
Very formal.
This came out on November 1st of 2004. Sierra had four songs in the top 40. This is the second single on her debut album. Recorded 2 years before the album release.
Damn.
Yeah, long time to just have that shelved.
Yeah, imagine being like, I just know this one's going to pop. I know it's going to be so good.
That's so long. Even a couple months is a long time, I feel like, to
Yeah.
be like sitting on it like, oh, I wonder if this is going to do well or not. It references her song Goodies and also references Queen's We Will Rock You musically, I guess, somehow in there.
I'd have to re-listen.
Yeah, I just had that written down. So somewhere I read that. Missy Elliott's verse is inspired by Square Biz, which is a song by Tina Marie. I like that song a lot. If you don't know it, go back and listen to that. Influenced by 80s electro dance music, and it used laser pulses from Emu's Proteus 2000. Inspired by Africa Bambaata's Planet Rock, which I did listen to Planet Rock, and it's like, oh, you can definitely hear it. A lot of the sort of, I don't know, the general, a like when I kept hearing like, oh, inspired by 80s electro dance music, I was like, that surprises me. I don't really feel it. Feels very hip hop to me. And then when I listen to the songs that it's referencing, you can definitely hear the sort of kind of stuff, but they translate it in a way. It's like, oh, this is a cool way to reinterpret that. I felt like this was this one that you have any personal connection to? Any kind of
I
remembrance?
feel like it just reminds me of middle school dances.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. That was
like
the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of.
Not one that I like listened to. I kind of feel like that's typical when we look at the top songs. A lot of the times it's like stuff that
Not something you and I would listen to.
yeah, often. Number 4 on the list is surprised me. This one wasn't higher up, to be honest. Number 4 is "Since You've Been Gone" by Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, I feel like that was played everywhere. Maybe it's because I have 4 older sisters and they played that song. But
Yeah, I mean, I also have an older sister, and I don't know if this was even one that she loved. It just seemed to be so ubiquitous. Kind of maybe one that was used in TV and movies and advertisements more than maybe played on the radio. Maybe that's why. It's also stuck around a lot. It's a very anthemic song. It's one that everyone likes to jump up and sing, and
well, again,
course.
Kelly Clarkson is American Idol, so like I said, my family really liked that show. So
yeah. I mean, American Idol was still huge at this time. Came out on November 16th of 2004. Written by Max Martin and Dr. Luke. Currently in some hot water. If you don't know about that, you can Google it. I don't know enough about it to.
I don't know.
I just know Katy Perry, him, and all this stuff. He's just not a great guy. It was originally written for Pink, who turned it down. Anytime I read that in something, I'm like, I wonder if they're kicking themselves, or if they're like, no, I just couldn't. I turned it down because I couldn't have done it right.
Yeah,
Or
maybe they just knew it just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, if I had done it, it would have sucked. You know.
It wouldn't have been the same.
Well, I mean, you do see that, I guess, when you have a cover version of a song that does like way better than the original. You know?
Yeah, that's true too.
Hillary Duff passed on the song because she couldn't hit the high notes. Sorry, Hillary.
But she's not like I don't think she was like a prominently like a singer.
Well, she had that one song.
Yeah, she had like
Fall
one
down.
song. Like,
Even in that
cool.
song, there's a point where she's like, "I'm coming clean." Like it just does. She can't hit it very well. Sorry, Hillary. I don't mean to poke. We love you, Hillary. It's all in good fun. Come on the pod. We'll have a good laugh.
Talk about 2005.
Rolling. It's like, was that even a year she was doing? I don't have it written down once on this page, except for that one time, I guess. Rolling Stone ranked this as number 93 in the 509 greatest songs of all time in 2021.
Really?
Yeah, number 93 in the greatest songs of all time.
That's surprising.
Also the greatest 509 songs of all time. Like a very random number, but this is number 93. Cracked the top 100.
That's so surprising.
Really calls into question a lot of what I think of. I mean, I already feel like the Rolling Stone lists aren't great. Billboard's 5th greatest pop song of all time. I mean, I could see you giving it the 5th greatest pops. I mean, I still
5th though.
Still greatest pop song. Even I don't even think.
I think I can think of
greatest
5
pop.
Michael Jackson songs. That
Yeah,
are all better than that.
I know. When I first thought of pop, and then I was like, "Oh, you got a lot of stuff you're gonna include into pop." When it was given to her, it was too poppy. She thought so. She added heavier guitar and drums.
Okay.
Inspired by Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and I'm like, I can't hear that at all. I don't really understand how this has inspiration from Maps.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just what they were listening to at the time.
I guess, yeah.
If they thought of it when it came to them.
All right, you got number 3.
Yeah, Mario, "Let Me Love You," off of I got it off of a single. I didn't find it for any album that he added on.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have an album written down either. Came out on October 4th, though. I got that of 2004. These are all 2004 songs so far.
Yeah.
It was written by Scott Storch, Cameron Hoff, and a then unknown Neo.
Okay.
This was before he popped off. This was the first thing that really got him any kind of recognition. In 2008, it was ranked number 45 on Billboard's all-time top 100 Hot 100 singles during the first 50 years. A lot of numbers there to parse.
Yeah, a lot of like narrowing down that.
I'm going to read that down.
category.
Read that again. In 2008, it was ranked number 45 on Billboard's all-time top 100 Hot 100 singles during the first 50 years. So top 100.
Somebody was really looking for. They're like, all right, we need these songs on there. How do we get these songs on there?
I bet it was like, I bet you I can get a headline printed with like 7 numbers in it. That's so funny. There's 8 numbers in there. Damn. Neo thought Mario was too young for the song when he wrote it. Well, he was wrong. Worked out for both of them.
Idiot. Just kidding.
All right, that's all I got for number 3.
You do want to do number 2?
Yeah, you can announce it.
Gwen Stefani, Holla Back Girl on Love, Angel Music Baby is the album.
This one is actually from 2005, March 22nd. Like something else earlier I said was like March 22nd earlier as well. We'll never know.
Not like this is recorded or anything.
Or I could just go back and look on my page. This was the first digital download to sell 1 million copies.
Dang.
Impressive for a time. Like it's so whenever you hear things about digital sales numbers, because when you look up certain years and stuff, they're always very like there'll be certain times where it's 2003 and stuff where it's super important. That's like this sold this many numbers digitally.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't. It came up suddenly and then goes away just as suddenly.
Well, because they try to keep it as important as their record sales because that made them like physical media made them money.
Right.
You know, like
now it's funny when you look at the top Billboard charts and it's like way different than what's on Spotify top charts. You're like people are listening on Spotify now, you know?
Yeah.
And like, because there's nowhere to track the digital sales. But you could, I don't know why. I wonder, you know, everything's so proprietary and everybody's so split up with all the capitalism. But it's like, you know, we could just be tracking the Spotify numbers as well. And in fact, into things.
I think
you know?
if you tracked Spotify and Apple, you would get your accurate number.
Yeah, that's probably better. You know, well, it's a good thing these things weren't around back then. I guess I could have looked at Rhapsody. Stefani wanted an attitude song. That's what she did with this song. She was trying to get out there and freaking have some attitude again. You know?
Didn't have enough before, I guess.
Well, you know, I mean, she came from No Doubt. She was cool. No Doubt was cool. You know, they were a good, really good band, and she was super cool back then. And I don't know if this was her, you know, trying to be like, I'm gonna get back into being a freaking tough girl. And I was like, this is not the way to go. I don't think. It was a lyrical and melodic interpolation of Another One Bites the Dust. So I normally wouldn't have cared too much about that, but also I thought the other Queen.
Another Queen reference. Yeah.
Inspired by Courtney Love in 17 magazine, she said, being famous is just like being in high school, but I'm not interested in being the cheerleader. I'm not interested in being Gwen Stefani. She's the cheerleader, and I'm out in the smoker shed.
She's so cool.
Dude, the freaking coolest. And Gwen Stefani heard that, and she was like, listen, okay, if I'm the fucking cheerleader, well, then here I go, bitch. Hold my pom-poms, bitch. And she went out there, and she made millions of digital copies. Apparently, this is the story about where the name comes from. It was definitively answered that British supermodel Naomi Campbell, in response to some fan or a man or something who was like trying to talk to her, she said, I'm sorry, I have a name. I ain't no holla back girl. Which references a fabulous song, Young and Holla Back. So there was a song by a band or somebody named Fabulous, British artist, I'm guessing. It was called Young and Holla Back. So it's a reference to something that I'm like, well, what the fuck is that song talking about? So I had to do more digging, and I just ran out of time.
just like a giant rabbit hole.
Yeah, and when I kept going down. It was something where I kept getting more information. Like that's why I got down to finally being like, oh, Naomi Campbell said, and like at one point, because it was like there was all this talk about speculation as to what it could mean and all these other things, and finally, like, oh, this is where it came from. And then I got to that and was just like, fuck it. I wrote that down. I was done. Song received very mixed reviews. Some people thought it was great. They really liked the beat of it and thought it was a cool song, and some people thought it was terrible and put it on the lists of worst songs ever and shit like that. You know?
I think the beat is cool.
It's an interesting song. I think it's one that's, at the time, I hated it. You know, really drove me crazy.
I think it's because it was played everywhere.
Yeah, I think also this is sort of a beginning of being, you know, a little fucking, oh, I'm too cool for everything. So it's like something was really popular. There was a lot of stuff that was popular that I liked.
Well, then us being 12 years old, everybody did think that they were too cool for.
Yeah, exactly. But some of the stuff that was popular on the charts I did think was cool, and we'll get into that after this next one. Number 1 is We Belong Together by Mariah Carey. Came out on March 15th of 2005. This was dubbed a comeback for her after a 2001-2004 dry spell. She hadn't had any hits, and which for her was a big deal because she's a
She was huge. Yeah.
super hit maker. This was her 16th chart topper.
Damn.
Yeah, so
Killing it. And every Christmas.
yeah, for real. I know it's when especially nowadays you just think of her as being the Christmas song lady and stuff like that. But it's like if she didn't have that, she'd still be fucking totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. She's just raking it in.
I mean,
with
that
the Christmas stuff.
that makes her just an upper echelon of like music sales. But even without it, she already was like the most successful.
Yeah.
In terms of a lot of things. 14 non-consecutive weeks at number one, which was a four-way tie for second longest running number one, behind her own 1995 One Sweet Day. So she has the top two longest running singles. Billboard lists this as the 15th most popular song of all time. That was
I don't think so.
that was I mean, I guess just in terms of their sales. I mean, that's what
Oh, yeah.
like in terms
yeah.
of how many this sold and in their numbers. This is number 15 ever.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that's honestly, I have to be quite honest. I was a little surprised this was number one. I mean, I guess hearing now that it has been played so much, you're like, well, I can't deny it.
I didn't even really recognize the song, to be honest with you.
Really?
Like, I've heard it. I know I have. But, like, all these other ones I knew off the bat without having to, like, think about it. You
Yeah,
know what
I mean, I definitely think those other ones are a lot more recognizable and feel so much like, oh, I can remember being at the mall hearing this song or being whatever the fuck it was, being
Yeah.
in the car or in the back seat going to the movies, whatever.
Yeah.
And this is one that I just think, it was definitely not aimed at any type of radio we would have been listening to, I guess.
It's true, too. Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I was surprised that it was not just so high on this year's charts, but to hear it was number 15 of all time was pretty crazy to me. But that's it for the top 5. I did want to just point out also that 50 Cent had 6 songs on the chart. 5 of them were in the top 40. The highest one was Candy Shop at number 8. So he just barely didn't hit the top 5, but
He's
was
still in the top 10, though.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point that out because he was so huge back then, and I remember 50 Cent being like everything all of my friends were, super.
Yeah.
Everyone was rapping his songs everywhere. Like anytime I go over to my friend's house, everyone was singing Candy Shop.
Because this was his
Magic Stick.
debut album.
Yeah, and I mean there were so many bangers off this album.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at this year and the music that came out, there's a lot of even the top songs you see. Green Day right next to Kanye West, like you see just different types, different brands of music. The Pussycat Dolls and the Killers, yeah.
And Rihanna.
There's just like a good mix of things, I feel like. But again, like I said earlier, it kind of feels like a switch is happening a little bit. Like there's not really an identifiable feeling to any of like the rock songs. They're sort of maybe the indie rock is kind of cool still, but it's not as popular as it used to be. And like, I mean, 50 Cent like is starting to. I think that ushers in a new era for like what rap music was going to start to sound like. But it wasn't as popular as it's going to be in the next couple of years yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Black Eyed Peas, like, but then you get down farther, and I always know this is the case, but when you get down farther into this list, you see so many songs that are like, this was huge. I was so surprised that Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz wasn't super high up on the charts.
Yeah.
Because that song was everywhere, I felt like. Speed of Sound by Coldplay.
Incomplete by Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, it's funny there were still Backstreet Boys.
I know, I didn't even... Yeah, there's Toby Keith, John Mayer, and Jennifer Lopez.
Like Ordinary People by John Legend.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of very cool stuff. And I mean, things that I was listening to, System of a Down and Dragon Force. I remember really liking when I was that age.
Yeah, the White Stripes. Dropkick Murphys, I'm shipping off to Boston.
Yeah. It's
great
funny. That's
song.
Cool that one came out. So, yeah, like I said, a lot of cool stuff. It was
the
all over
American
the place,
Rejects, Dirty Little Secrets.
That's a really classic one.
Yeah.
That's another one that did feel culturally so, or I don't know, just formative to me. Even though I didn't really even like that band that much at the time.
Yeah.
It was something that still was just like, it was in all of the stuff I watched or in.
I
all
probably
my
like that
friends
song
liked it.
more now.
Me too.
For the nostalgic reasons than I did back then.
I think-
Go Bordello, Start Wearing Purple.
Oh, yeah, that's a great song. That's so funny. Look that song up if you don't. Most of the stuff that we're talking about is pretty well known. That's one that's like probably not.
That's not so much. Bloodhound Gang, Foxtrot, Uniform Charlie, Kilo.
That's one that I remember from back when we were younger, hanging out in the garage, playing beer pong all the time. And
Yeah.
stuff. That was Bloodhound Gang was another one that I didn't really listen to. I mean, I knew the funny ones that people would sing at school, but this isn't one that I really recognized until I was older.
Wolf Mother, Woman. That band, like, they practiced in their garage for like 2 years without ever doing a show.
That's cool.
And then they came out with the album. I don't know how they got the deal or whatever, but they ended up like not ever playing shows before they actually got famous.
Wow, that's crazy. I saw them live once. They're great.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was gonna save that for later because that's one of my favorite albums of all time. I really remember that coming out and like it was just. I mean, I grew up really loving '70s rock, and obviously this album. If you don't know Wolf Mother, they have a couple songs that are relatively well known. They've been in a lot of previews and stuff like that.
Woman, you would recognize.
Joker and the Thief is pretty big.
Yeah.
And then there's like New Moon Rising. I remember being in the Due Date preview. So I just off the top of my head, one place you might remember the music, if you remember the Due Date preview, the song New Moon Rising by Wolf Mother is in it. That's off the second album, Cosmic Egg. I don't remember what year that one came out, but
This is
but anyway, that's just off the top of my head. Wolf Mother though, I still love that album. I recently in the last like 6 months revisited it, and like because I checked back in with them and was like, man, they have a lot of albums that came out after. Because when the second album came out, a lot of their lineup had changed, and I didn't love it. And I just again, that was when they're teenagers and like everything sucks. So I was like, I don't like them without their original lineup. And then so now I'm like, they have a lot of music I just never heard. But I ended up just going back to the first album and playing that a couple times because it's so good. Well, you ready to move on to the movies?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's Ebert and Roper ourselves. Okay, everybody out there in Wishville, we're gonna move from one of the most common ways to entertain yourself is to listen to music, but the second most common way, I don't know. Actually, what do you think is more common?
Probably in this time, movies.
Movies is more common. That's what we're voting here. But in 2005, who knows? Anyway, the movie that was the most popular movie in the U.S. This was number 2 worldwide, but we just look at the U.S. charts. Number 1 worldwide. I guess I'll say that in a second. Number 1 in the U.S., number 2 worldwide, was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Woo! Number 1 was worldwide was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
That would have been such a better movie.
Yeah, by a long shot. I kind of wish we had done that. But we do the U.S. around here.
Yep.
We decided, in case you care what our logic is, we decided to do the U.S. releases because we do the Billboard charts. That's U.S., And then, like, in terms of this year, we remember all this stuff because, we were in the U.S., so it wouldn't make a lot of sense because a lot of times it is the same, but sometimes it's different, and it's just easier to go off this. Also, a big thing is when we go back to, like, the 60s and stuff, you can't really find information on... I'd have to look at each individual country and...
Add them all up.
Yeah. Because it's just like, this is the figures from what this movie did in the U.S. because they didn't produce everything to go all over the world. So keep it U.S. style. This movie came out on May 19th of 2005. It is a sprightly little 2 hours and 20 minutes. Goes by in a flash. Written and directed by George Lucas. Starring Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, and Ewan McGregor. Had a $113 million budget. $108 million opening in the U.S. Almost made that back right away. And Canada, to combined. $850 million worldwide gross. So they got back what they spent on it.
Yeah, right away.
And then some. I watched this video recently about how all the budgeting works for movies and stuff, and it's like, actually, they still are going to claim they lost money on this somehow, for all the write-offs. It's despicable. It's really weird. Look into it, everybody. I'm not going to get into it now. We're going to talk about Star Wars. What did you think about this back in the day, and what do you think about it now, having rewatched it?
Well, I didn't watch Star Wars until I was...
Oh, yeah, I always forget about that.
Yeah, I was like 25 or something like that the first time I watched Star Wars. But I like this one more than we did the first one, whatever the first Star Wars is.
Like the 1977 one?
No,
Or no, Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yeah, anytime there's a Star Wars movie, it's just like that's going to be the number 1 movie that year, it feels like.
So, like, watching this one, I was like, at least there's a lot of stuff happening. Because in episode 1, it's a lot of politics. And in this one, things are kind of like actually solidifying and like actually like the movie of the plot is like moving a little bit more. So,
Yeah, it was a little bit more going on than I remembered. I thought this was going to be more. I thought it was going to be really boring. I mean, it's more bad than boring, I guess.
it's not boring. Yeah, that's
yeah. I don't know which is.
You know what I keep thinking though when I'm watching these movies is that this is like 90% green screens.
Oh yeah.
And it disconnects the actors from the scenes, so it disconnects us from the movie.
Yeah,
and I can't stop thinking about it whenever I watch these movies now. Once I figured out that they were like all green screen, I was like, well, how are you supposed to be genuine? You know what I mean? Especially in that time. Right now, it's a lot more prevalent and a lot more popular for like the Marvel movies to be green screen and like all that other stuff. But actors weren't doing that at this time.
No, that's a whole different style of acting.
Yeah. So now people have adjusted to it over the last 20 years or more. But at this point, I don't feel like even Samuel L. Jackson, he's an amazing actor, arguably one of the best to ever do it. And even in this movie, he feels disconnected.
Yeah. I know, and you got people like, well, it's like, I guess, obviously, I was going to say you got people like Christopher Lee and all these legends of the screen from olden times and stuff. It's like, yeah, well, they're going to have a hard time acting on green screens, obviously, because it's super foreign to them. So, yeah, I mean, it just is.
The lightsaber fights, I don't know, because they're better now than they were back then, but because of the technology of everything. But, man, those were bad.
The one at the end that there was some trivia on right at the very last fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan is they trained for like 2 months beforehand in fencing and stuff, and so they're like not sped up. That's specifically said they weren't sped up. When I was watching it, I was like, I don't know that I would have thought this was sped up, but it's like they are moving very quick.
Yeah,
I guess I would have thought maybe it was like somebody else or something.
Well, I guess like
they do a good job of fighting each other in that one scene. I guess I just took note of that one because that's the only one that was mentioned in the trivia. So
that one is good actually, but like the fight with Christopher Lee, for example, he's
an
old guy. You know what I mean? Like, and they're both fighting him at the same time, and it just doesn't sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very like Mr. Miyagi beating up the group of the skull face kids.
Yeah, right.
Like he steps into place and waits for the kick, and then his hand's already there to like block it.
And then what was another bad fight scene? Oh, the General Grievous fight scene. When Obi-Wan fights him and kills him, but like, I don't know, like he's like spinning his swords.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff,
goofy as fuck.
And then he just like stabs him, and then he stops everything else that he's doing.
Yeah,
and stops the sword spinning, and then like I don't know.
It was kind of actually one that I think when I started it, I remember being like, I thought this was worse than it is. Oh no, like the first like whole because I think Hayden Christensen's so bad in it, and like the beginning, especially when he's just like, don't count me out yet, master, or I don't remember what the fuck he says, but he's just like so wooden, and he's the only wooden thing in this whole metal fucking place. And they're flying through space and everything, and it's all crazy. No, but that scene is super, like, just the acting of it's so bad, and like you said, it's all, you don't have anything to connect to, and that's just how I feel about and I know these movies are, you know, this was super popular then, and like Marvel movies stay popular. I mean, now at this point, kind of waning, but you know, that type of. I always feel when I'm watching this kind of stuff, that's like I'll just watch a cartoon if I'm gonna watch all this computer animated shit.
Yeah,
you know, I'd rather. But cartoons are more fun.
The Clone Wars are way better versions of the characters and everything.
Yeah, I always either think I'd rather watch a cartoon or play a video game than watch a movie like this, because it's just watching a bunch of computer animated stuff move around, and then a bunch of actors who, like you said, they're not feeling it because they're not in the scene, you know.
Yeah.
Here's a note about acting I had written down. Ewan McGregor had Lucasfilm make him a looped reel of all of Sir Alec Guinness's scenes from the original trilogy, so that he could study them and perfect both the accent and the pacing of his words belonging to Sir Alec Guinness.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, but I don't know how good of a job you did. You know, It's like, you know, I've never felt like, wow, he really evokes Alec Guinness in this. You know?
Yeah.
The original Obi-Wan from the
the
70s
original
movies, and 80s, and I mean, it's like he's got such a distinctive pattern that it's like if you did a good job of it, you'd be like, oh wow, he sounds even remotely like him. I think.
Even if he like played into it, I still like he still talks like himself.
Yeah, I don't think it feels like he's doing anything.
It doesn't feel like he's like even putting on an accent because I think he's English
Yeah.
anyway, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he is. So it's like he should be changing something.
yeah. It doesn't feel
Know him.
knowing
He's
that
me.
it does.
Like I'm trying to think of like how Ben Kenobi. I mean, he's got a very distinctive pattern and way of talking.
Yeah, like he could have. Yeah, that was even better.
Anakin, don't go in there. But yeah, I again wrote that down because it was one of those things that was like, well, it's like this movie is just like all the facts about it. You're like, man, you put work into this. Like, damn, this is the third one. I think at this point too, and again being the age we were and stuff, like I was not even like super pumped to see this. You know, the first one, I mean, episode 1 came out and I was young enough that I liked the pod racing stuff. The second one, I liked the Clone Wars aspect of it, like in the end, when they're in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, I was just like already like these movies aren't really that good. So I saw this one, I was like, this sucks the whole time. It's fucking lame. But yeah, rewatching it, I didn't really have much of a different opinion. I feel like
No, like I said, it was more entertaining than I remember.
it was better than episode 1.
Yeah. I kind of just like, since we watched that one pretty recently, I kind of just like had that disdain for all three of them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You're like, this one's not as bad as I thought, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's one more little fact I have here is that apart from providing the voice of R2-D2 and the heavy breathing of Darth Vader, which he has done since episode 4, A New Hope in 77, Ben Burt provided the voices for every battle droid, super battle droid, and buzz droid.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so the voices of R2-D2 and all the droids in this, and then also Darth Vader's breath.
I feel like that would be a hard one to have to do. But, I mean, it's
It's nice
cool.
that they keep bringing them back.
It's cool, yeah.
I think that's really neat.
Genuine, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like have the breath from the 70s. The 70s guy comes back when you redo these movies in the 90s.
Seems like you could just play that on a loop.
I'm sure you could, yeah. I like that. I mean, that's a very funny, very small touch to do. I think one of the coolest things is that like the Emperor from the original Star Wars movies is the same guy who plays him
Yeah.
in these. Like Darth Sidious. He just had makeup on to make him look old in those movies, and then now he's just an older man, so he got to play
That is cool.
like a younger version of what he was doing back then, but now he's not.
He's
wearing
older.
makeup. Yeah, it's cool. So I think it's neat that he brought back people, and he's like, well, if I'm bringing back him, I got to bring back the original Darth Vader breath. That's all I have written down about this movie. Not a great rewatch, and
Yeah, we're not big fans, if you couldn't tell.
we're gonna rate this on a scale of 2005 severed limbs. So let's see. That's a good round number. A lot of times this is really hard to figure out what we want to rate it off of. I guess we just make it relative to 2000 at any point. It's not like we're that far of a difference. But anyway.
True.
So out of 2005, man, I guess I got to give this like maybe like 1100.
Yeah, I was going to say somewhere around 1,000, 1,500.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, it's funny because I'm not even really considering this as we've been doing this in the pod, but I've really gotten a lot less harsh on movies recently in my life. I used to just, like I've mentioned that, I guess, this whole episode, but I used to really, really be a harsh critic of everything when I was younger. And like all through high school and stuff. And just in the last couple of years, I've been like, hey, most things are really enjoyable to me. And I'm like, this movie was great. This is one that I genuinely did not really like watching. But like the lowest I'm going to go on is something that I'm like, unless it's like particularly
Bad.
like, yeah, there's something bad where like, this is like, I'm fucking mad that someone was able to make this, This is one that was just like, there's a lot of effort put into a lot of things on this movie, but it just was not enjoyable, and I'm not trying to rewatch this again for a long time.
Hopefully we won't have to.
It's kind of funny, though, how you end up watching Star Wars movies more times than other movies, at least in my life. I've seen them all a handful of times, and most of them I don't care to anymore.
Like, I don't even know why.
Yeah, I really loved the original trilogy as a kid, and then, the new ones come out when I'm a young kid, and so it was like part of my life for so long but then by the time they started doing the newer ones, I'm like, I'm so over this shit.
That's when I started watching them, when they started making the newer ones.
That's funny.
I was like, all right, I feel like I should start.
Yeah, I
at
mean, it's
some
something
point.
you might as well. And
Yeah.
like Marvel movies, it took me a couple to kind of get into it, and then I kind of caught up, and then at a certain point I was like, I just let it get away from me. And now I'm like, I'm glad I didn't spend a super long time trying to keep up. I dropped off after like Endgame. Here's the top 10 movies of the year.
That's pretty much when I stopped too. Endgame.
Endgame, yeah. Here were the top 10 to give you a feel of what was going on. So in the U.S., obviously, number 1 was Star Wars Episode 3. Number 2 was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which was number 1 worldwide. Number 3, Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So the start of that franchise. You're seeing a lot of franchisey stuff. See, it's like
Did that continue?
Did a couple of them.
I don't remember.
I know they at least did one more, for sure. They might have done 2 more, though. But I know they at least did 1. The War of the Worlds, another one with Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
King Kong. Madagascar, the animated one.
Great movie.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I was surprised that was so high up there. I loved that movie. Brad Pitt and Angelina.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Batman Begins, so another franchise starting off. And Hitch, which was another one that I really loved. With Will Smith. I don't know why I did that voice. One that I watched this last week or so, just to get in the spirit, was Triple X State of the Union. I had not seen that before.
I've never seen it.
With Ice
The
Cube.
second one?
Yeah, it's not. Actually, it's funny because I think it's pretty universally hated, and I didn't think it was that bad. I was just talking about it a minute ago. I thought it was better than Star Wars Episode 3. Like, I'm pretty fine with movies now. I enjoy most things. It wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it.
I mean, it's like those action movies, you watch them for just that, like the action.
This
you know
one
what
was,
I mean?
the action was kind of shitty because of how, like, green screeny everything was. And like we talked, this was really a time when they used so much green screen and things and didn't have it really perfected yet.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the stuff that was on the top 10 did look pretty good, I think. Oh, I also rewatched King Kong. I hadn't seen that in a long time.
That's a great movie.
It's pretty good.
World of the Worlds was a good movie, too.
A couple of my favorites that came out this year, and these are, like, some of these are some of my favorites of all time. Waiting is a great one.
Oh, great movie.
40-Year-Old Virgin. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Sin City. One of my favorites ever. And Lords of Dogtown. Another one. That was, man, I've seen that movie like 100 times.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, I used to watch it like every day. I had it on DVD, and I'd like watch it when I was skating in the garage and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so many times.
I've seen them a bunch of times.
And then another one of my favorite things, one of my favorite horror movies of all time came out in 2005. That would be The Descent. And man, can you believe how many times I've lucked out with this? Check it out.
Oh, nice.
I'm wearing a Descent t-shirt. Man, every fucking episode, I'm able to wear something that coincides with the episode.
I've never seen that movie.
It's great.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
I already had this shirt. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It's like definitely one of the few times I feel like I've been, or like one of the most scared I can remember being in a horror movie. And for me, that's saying a lot. I've seen a ton of horror movies, and usually I don't really have much effect to it. But this one's very claustrophobic, and it just, even the first half before they get to like any of the more, like the first half's much more of like a thriller or something, I guess you could say, and like that part even is really fucking scary. And before they get to the real horror aspect of it in the second half, I definitely recommend watching it if you get a babysitter. Put the kiddos to bed. But a lot of really, I mean, like I said, Lords of Dogtown,
Sin City is a big one.
Yeah, that's another one I've seen countless times. It's one of my favorites ever.
You know what? I don't. It's probably not the most popular opinion, but I really liked Constantine. With
that's another one that's just so green screeny. I guess Sin City is too.
It
but
is,
that one's
yeah.
got a lot of style to it. But I mean, Constantine does too. But it's one that I didn't see until way later.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it was hard to watch for the first time years later because it was just like, my eyes.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it.
V for Vendetta and The Longest Yard.
Oh, a decent amount of like comic book stuff. The Longest Yard's a good one. I loved that one as a kid as well.
Yeah, I love that one too.
That's actually one that's funny that I really, really loved it as a kid, and then I watched the like original years later as an adult, and was like, it's not really that funny. I mean,
I don't think
like
it was supposed to be.
Well, it's
right?
like always touted as a comedy, and there's some humor to it, but it's like, I mean, it's an old fucking 70s comedy, I think from the 70s. Might be the 80s, but I'm pretty sure it's the 70s. And, so I mean, like, it's not super hard comedy to it. It's just sort of like a not serious movie,
Yeah.
And, it's funny. You rewatching, I haven't seen it in a while, but it's like, I gotta rewatch that. But yeah, just remembering it now, I guess it's like, just back when comedies were, when they had, full budgets and everything and were still pretty good.
Man, there's a lot of really good movies on this list. Capote.
I've never seen it.
Hitch. I mean, I guess it's not a great movie, but it's like a lot of ones I guess remembering. The Dukes of Hazzard, The Ringer, Electra. That was like the
that one was
after
really
after
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Yeah, so comic books were starting to be really popular. Funny that Johnny Knoxville was kind of having a little bit of a popularity from Jackass being so big a couple years prior. But
Fun with Dick and Jane.
oh, the other thing I wanted to point out, I felt bared repeating here or mentioning, was that Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 Cent's movie, came out this year. So if you're keeping track of all the shit I've mentioned now, he had all those songs in the top 40. He had a movie and he had a video game all come out this year.
Damn.
So it's like he was the ultimate winner of the year.
100%.
I guess when I mentioned earlier that the year didn't have an identity and there's not like a big thing, yeah, I was wrong. It was 50 Cent.
50 Cent.
He's the overarching theme of 2005.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, and I watched Get Rich or Die Trying for the first time last year. Last year I watched I watched 430 movies. I ended up watching.
Damn.
Yeah, over the course of the last year. So I don't really remember it super well. I just remember really hating it. I remember being like, "This is
Really?
terrible." Yeah, one of the ones that I think I gave like 2 or 3 stars. So that really was one that like
Damn.
I mentioned earlier. Oh, I don't really hate a lot of things unless they're really bad. This is one that I was the whole time like, "This I hate that I'm watching this, but I already started it and I might as well. I'm watching as many movies as I can this year if I can watch it." I don't recommend, but it's not even kind of one of those things that you watch is like, wow, this is so intriguing that it's bad because it's bad. This is just like, this sucks. Go play his shitty video game instead. But more than any of that, listen to his music. His music still is it's still, it has a very specific feel to it, and I enjoy putting it on when I want to specifically vibe to 50 Cent music.
Yeah. Put it on at a party. Everyone's going to be stoked.
He's definitely like a vibey dude, like his sound and everything. But it's also kind of the start of seeing, maybe not the start, but for me, it really does mark a big point in, like, we're not that concerned with talent. We're more concerned with like what the attitude is,
Yeah.
And in the rap game and shit, like, you can argue about whether or not you think that what they do is difficult or not, but it's just like he wasn't focusing on lyrics. He wasn't focusing on even delivery. I mean, I don't think he's even really like that smooth of a rapper or anything,
Yeah.
But it was just, he seems cool. Like the whole thing is cool. Like
His story and stuff.
yeah, that too. I mean, then the beats are all fucking really hard as hell and they all sound great. So go back, listen to that stuff. Let's go ahead and wrap it up unless you got anything else you want to jump on. Well, we're going to go ahead and just pick what our favorite thing of the year was. We just get to save one item and everything else disappears, vanishes from the history books and from your memories. And this is the only place that you'll know anything about any of this stuff is if you listen to this episode. Unless you're listening to my pick for the thing I'm saving. Actually, I don't know. I was going to say something and now I'm like, I don't even know if that's my real choice. No, I'm just going to say it. Fuck it. Wolf Mother, the debut album by Wolf Mother, self-titled.
Okay.
I mean, I listened to it a frequent amount. Now I'm kind of like, there's a lot of stuff from this year that I'm surprised I'm not choosing, but whatever, fuck it. I'm going to stick with my gut. And go with the Wolf Mother album. Put it on if you haven't heard it. If you like rock and roll, if you like good rockin' tunes, check it out.
Great album. Definitely suggest. Mine is gonna have to be the Avatar, The Last Airbender.
That's a very good pick.
It's so probably the most nostalgic thing about this year of all the things that I came across.
There are so many things. A lot of the movies for me, this was a time when I would just sit and watch movies like on DVD all the time, and it's like the 40-Year-Old Virgin was one that actually I actually remember I didn't have it myself. Logan came over one time and had it, and he left it when he spent the night, and then I just kept it for forever, and it was just my DVD now. But that was one I would watch constantly from 2005. Hitch, I've seen.
I convinced my mom to buy me the 40-Year-Old Virgin
That's funny.
because she didn't know what it was or anything.
Seems hard to. I guess like you could spin it like it's a good thing.
Like I never saw it. I just said I wanted to buy it. I wanted it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's like the title isn't something that you can really spin as being anything else,
I don't know. And there was even like a label on it that was like
This guy doesn't fuck.
for a kid, like not for kids,
That's
basically.
funny.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I think that was a really a big one for me. And Sin City, like all these movies are like movies that, like I said, they came out at a time when I was just sitting in front of the TV watching movies all the time on DVD.
Yeah.
And so these are super formative to me. And so I'm like, I don't know how much I would really, but like Sin City, that movie looks amazing. And it's like one of the most perfect comic book adaptations of all time.
Yeah.
Hitch is I think it still might hold the record as the top grossing romantic comedy of all time.
Damn, really?
Yeah. So it's it's a well regarded romantic comedy. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
That's another one. I had it on a PSP.
Well,
And I used to watch it every night when I'd go to bed. I would put it on, like fall asleep to it. So I've seen the majority of it, again, hundreds of times, because every night I would fall asleep watching it.
yeah. We had that one on DVD for sure. Yeah. I'd have like, it's just crazy because now I'm like picturing going to Best Buy with my mom and like finding DVDs that were cheap or whatever. You know what I mean? Like out of the bin that was not those full $5 DVDs.
You just
or
have
whatever.
to dig through and like you're looking through it all and you're like, man, this is a bunch of dumb crap.
Yeah.
I don't want any.
Every
of this.
once in a while, you'll get a banger in
You're
there.
like, oh, what is this? Some like fucking Kung Fu Panda ripoff? And now it's over here like a Green Acres DVD season 3. No, I don't give a-
Yeah, all the old TV shows
You
they
get to
put
the
on
bo-
DVD.
Sin City at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mom, can I get this? I'm not getting that for you, Mark. It says sin right on the title. Look, this one's about a virgin. You can have this one. Well. I guess that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for 2005.
Yeah.
So
So
we're
if
going
you
to...
forgot anything, you're screwed.
Yeah. If there's anything that we didn't talk about that you happen to remember that somehow slipped through the time cracks and we didn't manage to wipe completely, go ahead and let us know on our social media, which is at whatever the fuck it's going to be. We haven't set that up yet. And also, possibly, on whatever the fuck it is, you can find the list of the music that we listen to as well. I always put together a big playlist of music. Might as well share it. I put a decent amount of work into that, and it's only for you and me. So
Yeah, I think we should share it. I
Yeah,
think it
might
would
as
be
well.
a fun little add-on for
yeah, I do a lot of the top 5 is the first couple, and then a lot of stuff from the top 100 moving forward, just noteworthy things or interesting stuff, and then different albums that came out that year and songs that I think are interesting or were, cool or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they charted later, maybe they didn't, but they were released. Or
Well, one of us should make the Instagram this week.
yeah, well, we'll deal with that later. Who knows? Maybe one of our fans can do it for us.
Yeah.
Just kidding. All right, you guys, everyone, you guys. You all that you out there, you guys sleep tight, okay? You have a good night. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna figure out what year we're gonna be in next. But until we get then, we gotta stay in now, which is always a bummer for me because anytime I think about old time years, I know what you're thinking, I know what I'm thinking. We're both thinking the same thing, and that's we wish we were then.